Hi everyone, I'm Yo and this is Virginia. Welcome to our YouTube channel, Knowing, Caring, and Loving Our Lady Parts. So Virginia and I are super excited today because we have a yoga-based exercise class for you today that'll work on facilitating relaxation, breathing, and working on expanding the upper back or thoracic spine area to optimize our breathing, especially during this hard time with the pandemic. And this will optimize your pelvic floor working also, because everything is connected, as you know. So let's get started. So remember from our other videos about breathing and about your posture. So we want to make sure that things are moving through your upper back area called the thoracic spine. So I'm going to go through some poses where we're working on stretching out this area so the lungs can fully expand. And remember, the breathing works optimally with the pelvic floor. If you can get that diaphragm expanding out and then out of that umbrella breathing that I've talked about before. Okay, so let's get started. So what we'll do is start off with some breathing first, and then we'll go over some poses. So Virginia's gonna hang out in the corner there, and unfortunately I don't have a nice dog like Adrian has. So anyway, she's gonna hang out and she's nice and quiet. So let's start off with some breathing to quiet our systems down, and try to think about, as you're breathing, that umbrella breathing that we discussed. So as you inhale, remember, it goes out like an umbrella, out to the sides, your rib cage, and out to the front. And also sort of tune in with your body about where you might be feeling some tension and try to release that. So you're breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. And if you don't find this position comfortable, feel free to breathe in whatever position works for you. If you want to lie down, okay, find a comfortable position. And as we breathe, I want you to just sort of move around a bit. I'm always stiff in my upper back and my thoracic spine area, so I'm just gonna do some rotations. This always feels good. I remember doing these when I was pregnant, and these feel good. So just loosen up that rib cage in that area and just kind of do some circles a little bit as we're breathing. That's it. And just get your mind off things. Release anything that's bothering you. For me, it's that teenager. Yup, fun times. And then just breathe and release. And just let it go. If you feel any tension in your thoracic spine area, which I am, do a couple of these. And this settle in. And then we'll do some thoracic extension. So we're going back, which is called extension, and then flexion, and just opening up that way there. So exhale and then inhale, and then drop the shoulders down when you do that. So you're releasing some of those respiratory muscles there. So, and then back. Good. And release the shoulders down. So try not to hike things up like that. Release them down, and then get that stretch. And then slide your shoulder blades down as you breathe and back. And then inhale. Because what we're trying to do is optimize our breath with those respiratory muscles too, and releasing those. And if you are tense up like this, those are the muscles that are tight that work with your breathing or accessory muscle breathing too. You want to release them down. Okay, so let's tune in with the breath a little bit more. And as you inhale, remember, you're expanding the diaphragm, and it stretches a little bit of that pelvic floor, remember, and as you exhale, it sort of contracts. So see if you could tune in a little bit of what you're feeling there. And if you don't, that's okay. And if you do, you kind of feel it as you do. You feel things stretching or almost dropping out, and then you release. So now that we're really relaxed, let's go into some of the postures, okay? So I really like the cat stretch. This is a great one, and most of you guys know this, okay? And with the cat stretch, what you're doing is you're rolling into flexion here, and then this is cow and extension. So I'm really stiff here, so you won't feel much of a flexion. So as you exhale, let's go into flexion. And then as you release, you go into extension. So this is cat and cow, okay? And when you go to cow, try to drop your shoulders down. And again, don't hike up your shoulders, so try to release them down. And just let your breath flow. So you can use your abdominals with your pelvic floor a bit if you feel comfortable with that. And I get into that when we do a little bit more stability work. And then let's finish off and we'll go into a child pose. So when you're in this position, you can open up your knees and that'll give you a little bit more stretch into your sacral area or your tailbone, or you can bring your knees together. So, and just stretch it open and breathe. And again, feel yourself opening through the rib cage, getting that expansion in the ribs. So inhale, hold, and then exhale. And really expand the lungs out and feel it totally expand. So your diaphragm is also working. And then you can bring your hands over to one side. So you're opening up through one side and then over the other side. So let's take it over to one side. And hold. And then we'll take it over to the other side and hold. And then just breathe and make sure you're facilitating on breathing. Nice deep breaths. So, and as you stretch down, try to release. So inhale, open, and then exhale, stretch down and hold. Good. Okay, and then let's go back on our hands and knees and we'll go into threading the needle. And I really like this posture because it stretches out the muscles in the back in between the shoulder blades, and it also gives rotation. So if you have more rotation in your thoracic spine, your upper back, it'll increase your mobility and help with the breathing. So you thread out, I'll show you with this one. So bring your arm up, rotate, thread it through, and then you just sit back on your heels, and I'm really stiff right now. So I'm feeling where it's stiff and I'm kind of rocking and I'm kind of releasing. Wow, I'm really stiff actually. And then this arm is supposed to be relaxed. I've been taping too much today, that must be it. And then you breathe into it and hold. So I'm not holding these stretches very long, but when you do these on your own later on, you can hold them for longer. And of course, longer is better for flexibility. Just relax your head down. Okay, for some reason I'm stressed. Must be my daughter who is making noise downstairs. And so relax there, hold. Good. And add that rotation up. Okay, and again, and when you actually are weight bearing, try to weight bear like this. It actually helps distribute the weight through your wrists if you spread out your fingers. So inhale and then exhale and thread it through the other side. And again, feel where it's tight. You can rock back and hold and let your head relax. And then up, and then now let's go into a downward dog because that's a great exercise. Again, it opens up the thoracic spine. It also will stretch out the hamstrings, of course, that posterior chain and any of those tight muscles. So let's go into a downward dog, and I'm stiff, so I'm probably not the best example today. I got a lot of injuries going on, so I'll modify. So try, and I'm tight right now, and to get your shoulders down, okay, and your head between your elbows. If you're tight in your hamstring, just bend the knees and just breathe and try to relax your head, release all that tension, and try to get that sort of extension of your upper back and hold. My calves are really tight right now, so, and then press and just kind of push with those hands into your downward dog. There you go. Perfect. And what you can do to increase a little stretch in your hamstring, let's bring that right leg in and then extend the left leg up. Try not to lose your downward dog like I did.
right? Open that up and reach towards the ceiling, and then drop your foot towards your opposite buttock so you're getting a hip opener. Again, if the hip's tight, that'll affect the pelvic floor. Hold, extend, and let's switch sides. So let's get the other one up. Breathe, and then good. That's it. And then release down. And let's go back into our child pose and breathe. And hold. Let all that stress go. Feel that things are letting go. And then we'll just roll up slowly, one vertebrae at a time. And then roll those shoulders back. The other thing that I find is really great is doing the fish pose, because that gives you a little bit more extension in that thoracic spine area, and it opens you up this way because we're often tight through the chest. Okay, so you can use a block if you want to, or something maybe smaller to get in there if you find that you need some help. But we'll just lie down here and put your hands underneath your sacrum. And what you're trying to do is actually get that chest off. Okay, and pushing up. And I'm again really tight, so I'm not a good example. I'm a good example of someone who has a lot of stuff going on. And I've been filming too much before this, so. And breathe and try to lift up and inhale, good, and release. And the problem is we're on the computers a lot, right? And you're going the opposite direction, so which is called flexion. You want to get into some extension. This feels really good. And then release it down. Good. And then bring your legs in. So this is one of my favorite exercises called a bridge, and it's great for stability too. And what we'll do is it gets your hamstrings going, and it also moves things in the thoracic spine area, and is a really great one for prolapse and also your pelvic floor. So breathe, and as you exhale, I'm going to add a bit of Pilates to it though. I want you to roll up, so it's not just a yoga one. Hold there. Good, and get that roll down. So you're getting that movement in your spine. It's called articulation of the spine. And you're trying to feel each vertebrae roll off. This is more of a Pilates mix with this. Okay? And then here I'm stabilizing a little bit. So I am using my pelvic floor and my transverses, and I'm holding. Good, and I'm releasing. And then what we'll do is we will hold it in the yoga pose. I'm looking for the block. Here we go, block. So you can use your hands, or again, this is a great one when you're pregnant. I remember I love this. Where you could just put it underneath your sacrum, find that comfortable position, and just relax. So let those shoulders go, because we tend to be tight and come forward because we're in the computers, and as moms, we're breastfeeding, all that kind of stuff, and everything is rolling forward. Let those go, because again, that'll affect your ribs, your breathing, and then relax. Focus on nice, slow, deep breaths. Now again, if you don't want to use the block, you can release that. Put your hands underneath your sacrum, shimmy your shoulders so you create that, like a cleavage with your shoulder blades, and then just hold it up there. And again, this is a great position. I know I've talked about for your pelvic floor for prolapse, because you are in an anti-gravity position, and that actually helps to relax the pelvic floor. It's not fighting against gravity. So it's a great relaxation position, and sometimes I get clients to do a Kegel in this position. It actually aids the pelvic floor. But for now, let's just relax and breathe. Good. And then just roll it down. Last exercise that I love, of course, is the rotations going into. So you could do it different ways. Of course, you can just bring your legs over to one side, and I'll probably crack, or the other slowly if you're stiff. But if we're going a little bit more, take your opposite hand on your leg and just drop it down. With your breath, as you exhale, go a little bit more. Try it again. Focus on releasing your shoulders, calming your breath down, feeling that rotation, and hold. As you exhale, you can stretch a little bit further and then bring it back to the center. And then same thing on the other side. And you'll feel your asymmetries, and I sure am right now, unfortunately. And then again, get that rotation. So as I mentioned before, when you get more rotation, you'll get more mobility usually of your thoracic spine. Good. And release. And let's roll onto our side and we'll finish off. So let's get into a comfortable position. I'm pretty flexible still, which is great. But if you find that this is an uncomfortable position, then you can sit up on a block or something. So if your hamstrings are tight, or just bend your knees or roll up your mat. Okay, so we want to get some side flexion going again to open up the side. That's really important because you want those ribs not to be compressed like mine are. Okay, so inhale and then over. This feels really good. Try to think of pushing down your opposite hip, okay? So you're not hiking it up, so you're adding more of a stretch through actually pushing down your hip on that side. And then you could do some circles, which feels really nice. Do some circles around. And then of course get your hamstrings going too and get a side flexion. That's it, and release, and inhale, and let's do the other side. And then keep working on your breathing. Good, open up, breathe. And you can even take a deep breath in. You can incorporate with some box breathing where you inhale and then again press that hip down through and you feel the ribs expand on, well, it's my left side. And then you release, right? So you're getting that expansion. Then you can go a little further into the stretch and then release. So try to do it with the breathing. As you inhale, you expand it, and as you exhale, you release it down. Because it's working with the breathing muscles. Good. And you could do it on the other side. Great. And release. And let's finish off with a little, always feels good, with Shavasana, of course. Okay, so lying down in a comfortable position. I actually really like this position for me because it relaxes my back. But of course, a lot of people will go into a corpse pose. And what I want you to do is focus on what is still maybe slightly tight and let that go. And try to lose your thoughts and just leave the room. Feel yourself get heavy on the mat and just focus on nice, calm, deep breaths. Try to feel all that tension leave your body if it hasn't already. And feel that your ribs are moving a little bit better. Maybe you're a little less stiff in your thoracic spine, your upper back. And hopefully you feel a little bit more calm and just let it go. And the next out breath, just slowly, you can wiggle your toes, fingers. Stretch nice and long, which always feels good. Opposite side, stretch. We don't often do that, elongate the body. Slowly roll onto your side and come up. And that concludes our class today, everybody. Namaste.
So Virginia, I thank you so much. I had to wake her up. Thank you for showing up to our first yoga-based class with respect to the lady part area. And yeah, everything's connected. And we hope you feel better after the class. And if you have any comments, please fill out in the section below. And yes, please subscribe if you haven't. And we look so forward to seeing you again soon.